परिषद भारत की सुहर प्रतीक हरित भारत के पूर्वोत्तर तक हर पथ पर है मित्र त्रिशत की शिक्षा शोध प्रसार सकल तक आशा स्वावलंबित भारत की जय जय कृषि।
Good morning everyone. I request Dr. G. Venkateshwarlu, Joint Director, ICAR-NAARM, for welcome address.
Everyone, most respected and distinguished Chief Guest, Sri Shaji, Chairman NABARD, Chief Guest of today's function, and Dr. Podile Apparao, former Vice Chancellor, Guest of Honor for today's function, and the President of Inaugural Function, Dr. Srinivas Rao, Director ICAR-NAARM, officials of NABARD, and the faculty and staff of NAARM, and most important FOCARS of 113th batch. Once again, good morning, and it's a wonderful day for the academy, a special day, one more special day in this particular conference hall. This is an iconic place where so far 6,821 scientists underwent the capacity building program as a FOCARS, that is a foundation course for Agriculture Research Service. So with this, I welcome all of you to the National Academy of Agriculture Research Management, a wonderful day today. Now, before taking the function, I request our director to welcome with a floral bouquet to our guests on this inaugural day, sir, and to join this elite ARS clan, the most important element in agriculture research of the country. So it's my great pleasure to welcome you all, friends. Sir, we welcome to entire contingent of NABARD, the chairman and CGM and other officials. It's a great pleasure and honor to see you all with this academy. A wonderful association with the NABARD, sir. Particularly last few years, we have been seeing our association growing almost day by day. And we have been closely associated with the startup ecosystem and also entrepreneurship and farmers producing organization, capacity building and human resource development for all these activities. Sir, we know NABARD being a apex body as a bank for agriculture and rural development, been extending the support not only for the rural domain, and very recently you have extended support to agriculture universities where the creation of human resources for various academic programs. And also you expanded your canvas to the startup ecosystem. And today, sir, you are here to address and give chief guest address to our young budding research scientists who are going to serve for next 3 to 4 decades in the agriculture research service. And definitely we are looking forward the role of NABARD beyond your conventional domain, and also we look forward to see the close association of NABARD and ICAR in the area of research, which definitely gives fruits to the agriculture and rural development. And that's a wonderful thing we are going to see, sir, and we will be definitely going to script a new chapter in the area of agriculture and rural development. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining as a chief guest, and really we are delighted to see you and your team with all of us. And I welcome our P. Apparao, sir. He is very closely, he has been closely associated with the agriculture research and ICR and also NAARM. Sir, thank you for joining today, and we all know your excellent contribution. Sir is a well-known microbiologist. His specialization in the area of molecular, plant and microbial interaction. Sir, your contribution really made great strides in the agriculture, and particularly your academic administration role. Friends, just I would like to mention here we have NABARD and also Apparao sir is a former Vice Chancellor of University of Hyderabad, who was responsible to make the university as an institute of eminence, under which sir could gather 1,000 crores from union government. So it's not a small thing. Sir, today having NABARD one side, having institute of eminence where 1,000 crores has come from union government is a wonderful model to all our young scientists. So we are going to see these areas where definitely they will be helpful to us. So I welcome, I thank our director for overall direction, overall guidance and support, and he has been introducing several innovations in this ARS FOCARS. And especially last batch we have witnessed so many innovations, and it has been a great satisfaction with the wonderful feedback from 117 scientists. Sir, thank you very much for all, and we continue your support and we continue follow the innovations to see that the entire human resource development takes in a great way. Friends, and being an academy, as you know, we have started this particular saga of capacity building in 1976. It has been a great journey, and you are in the series as a 113th FOCARS batch, and that's a great satisfaction to provide the required human resources for the agricultural research and development. So with this, I wish a wonderful time for all of you for the next 3 months in various dimensions of the capacity building. For the benefit of on the dais and friends, this ICAR-NAARM has been designated as the capacity building unit by Capacity Building Commission, a statutory body constituted very recently by the Indian government. With this new role, with this new domain, we are looking forward to have a great time with all of you in this green campus, in this beautiful campus for the next time. Thank you very much.
Be faithful, and bear true allegiance to India and to the Constitution of India, as by law established, and that I will carry out duties of my office loyally, honestly, and impartially. So help me God.
I am profoundly delighted to take an opportunity to introduce the chief guest for the day, Shri Shaji KV, Chairman NABARD. Shri Shaji KV is a postgraduate in agricultural science and holds PGDM in public policy from the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad.
You all know, divisible by itself or divisible by one. Oneness, of course, that is a large connotation, one. So you are divisible by yourselves. So it depends whether you want to get yourself divided or you want to be very committed in full oneness and dedicated to the agriculture research. Of course, my days as an agriculture graduate, I was an accidental banker immediately after completing before completing my post-graduation. I got an offer into a commercial bank. So I didn't think twice. Those days were the days where the opportunities were limited. Liberalization has taken roots. Of course, 95 means 3 years into LPG. That is, you may be aware. You all would have born during that time. Now, talking about agriculture, of course, I'm also an accidental agriculture graduate. So, as many of you would have aspired to join medicine as a profession. I don't know whether any of you would have opted for agriculture as the first choice. In my whole batch, only one person was there who opted for agriculture in my BSc AG days. Only one person was there who opted for agriculture, and all others were either second choice, third choice. I don't know. Now the system of entrance examinations are different. There's knowledge entrance, ICR. Earlier it used to be state-specific entrance examinations. So without knowing that agriculture is about botany, to that extent I was naive after plus 2. When I reached college, I realized the botany is what I hated most. But towards the end, I became rather a failed biotechnologist. Talking about me, no, I love biotechnology, I love chemistry. These two things I love, but I couldn't pursue that. But no regrets. Only thing now I want to tell you is that agriculture research is one area where you are doing a yeoman service to the society. Why? Because you all are aware that we are now achieved self-sufficiency. If you see the gross value added in agriculture is roughly around 23 trillion into the Indian economy. But whether that is sufficient, we are now hands to mouth type of thing. Even those which are being produced is not reaching the consumer's table. Leave apart that, when the world over is looking to India to feed the millions. Earlier it was the reverse. India was looking to outside world. Professor Rao also mentioned about those things. The green revolution which happened just before that, we were looking to outside world for feeding ourselves. But then green revolution, because of the research happening within the country, I think we were forced to go to the rice wheat type of production. He told about sustainability. That is very important now. Rice wheat type of production is not the traditional way of agriculture in India. We were forced to do that because we had to feed millions. And if you look at the way in which we have progressed so far, going back to the basics is one thing, which Professor Rao also mentioned. That is one thing we should do. Right now you are at the start of your career. You have to now do a creative destruction. I will tell that. A destruction of the current norms or the way in which we do agriculture, and do it creatively, in the sense that you should add value to whatever destruction you are doing. That is what which is needed. Today we are talking about climate change, such other aspects which are affecting sustainability. And agriculture is one of the major contributors to the climate change in terms of greenhouse gas emission, agriculture or red activities, the methane emission and such other things. But then without agriculture we can't sustain. So we need to now go for a sustainable agriculture. For that, what needs to be done? That is the way in which your research should be oriented. My advice, I don't know whether that advice will find traction with the academia over here, but still, if you want a sustainability, because India is committed towards global sustainability, and if you read the press reports and news items about the Union government committing itself towards SDG goals, Sustainable Development Goals, and also to the net zero emission, I think whatever in every aspect, even in any industry you are, in banking or aviation or in agriculture or any industry, we should realign ourselves with the national goal. So there is a new paradigm which is now coming, which is whatever we do, it has to be in a sustainable manner. And on that, as an agriculture scientist, what you need to do is now to look at those opportunities. I was talking to one of my friends who is an agriculture research service scientist. I was asking her that what was the most important concern she has as a scientist. She would have spent almost 20 years in agriculture research service. And surprisingly, I was expecting a lot of technologies or some sort of scientific inputs from her. Surprisingly, she was mentioning about what Professor Rao also mentioned. Was then he mentioned that you should not be worried about that, but the greatest worry that the practicing ARS scientist is having is about funds. She was mentioning that funds are not enough. She is a very good scientist. I can make out from the WhatsApp postings she used to make in our college group that she has done this research, that research, and all, which are really lacking to me. But still, when she told about that, funds is the major concern. Maybe knowing that I am a development banker, she would have mentioned about that. But it is a genuine concern. I cross-checked that also. So now investment in agriculture research or any research, whether the return on investment is good enough or not, that is the question, because governments of any country will be looking at investment, or rather returns from those investments in a faster manner. But there are empirical evidences that investment in research will yield higher than the investments in any grants or subsidies or anything. So there one study says that around 11% is the investments on the returns in research, whereas if you just give grants or subsidies, the returns will be sub 1. So, but then these returns, no, these are all little longer standing ones, whereas in the subsidies, immediate gratification is there. Once you pass on the subsidy, immediately the benefit will pass on to the politician who has handed over the subsidy. Whereas if you invest in research or technology, the returns will be little time consuming, but it is a consistent one. But the return is very certain to come, and the rate of return is sufficiently higher. So here, there is a need for educating even the policymakers as well, which is the job of NABARD, because NABARD is one agency which is in between agriculture research, the farmer, the government. So we are actually, if you say that in an orchestra, music orchestra, different players are there. So we are just like a conductor of the music orchestra, coordinating the activities. So here, the policymakers here now look at immediate gratification, and scientific research may be a casualty in the near term, but they can't ignore the investment in science, because if country has to develop, innovativeness need to be nurtured in a larger manner, and Government of India realizes that innovativeness. If you see the public proclamations of many of the ministers, they are focusing on innovativeness. But that innovativeness, they expect that from the private initiatives it should come, out of passion it should come. But then as a public investment, yes, if you are entering in a public sector industry, the incentives for performance will be slightly lesser. So proper incentivization need to be there, and that also government is aware. That may be one of the reasons why they are squeezing the funds, so that you should look to the market for raising funds. See, one thing now, if your research is oriented towards market, then there will not be any dearth of funds. The private sector research entities have proven that. Biocons of the world, or even these technology companies also, a lot of research they are doing. So whatever you do as research, you should now look at the pressing problems and find solutions, and then package those solutions so that the general public can understand. So there is the need for via media, that a pure research, then an agricultural extension, and then communicating the results of those research to the field in a proper manner, and in a way that the society, because you are dealing with the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, but then we expect these the teeming millions, depending on agriculture, to be at least in the middle or upper middle class. Because unless we do that, the country will not prosper. You are aware that 65% of India's population is in rural areas, which produces around 35% of the national income, whereas 35% of the people who are in the urban areas are producing almost 65% of the national income. So there is a clear rural-urban divide. There is an income inequality which is happening. And in a country like India can't sustain like this forever. Because if you are sustaining, or if you are continuing with that rural-urban divide, then there will be social strife. And one part of India, which will be growing faster at say 8% or 9%, average if you take, it will be in double digits, whereas the other part, the Bharat, what we call as Bharat, is going at around 3.5%. The Hindu rate of growth, which the traditional economists will tell, that 3.5% is a constant. Even in the COVID period, agriculture sector was growing at around 4.3, which is slightly higher than the average growth rate. And then the contribution to the GDP also increased. It is not because agriculture sector has performed well, but then circumstances necessitated that those who have lost job went back to rural areas, and the next zone area increased, and the production also increased. And when the COVID lockdown was lifted, these people went back. So, but then there is some sort of, or rather, a greater extent of underemployment happening in rural areas. So now, pure agriculture and dependency on that may need to be decreased. Actually, NABARD is for National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. We are working for developing an area from a rural to urban and developing agriculture. So actually we are working against our motive. Actually, we are now trying to reduce our area of operations. Once you develop a rural area, it will become a semi-urban or an urban area. So now area of operations should come down. Naturally, that need to happen, and then we need to diversify into other activities. Agriculture also. If you see that the 22 or 23 trillion Indian rupee of GDP, which is being contributed to agriculture, if you want to sustain the same level of income for the farmers, we need to double that in a reasonable time, maybe in another 2 or 3 years. We need to double that. that doubling in terms of value adding to the economy, that can happen by reducing the post-harvest loss with the current level of production, by increasing or rather decreasing the post-harvest losses, and putting the lion's share of the production to the consumer's table. You can increase the GVA, and then the productivity improvement, then reducing the dependency of people in agriculture. 60% or around 60% of Indian population depending on agriculture is not a sustainable thing. So we need to attract people to productivity improved agriculture rather than the traditional agriculture, but then it need to be sustainable one also. On that count, institutions like NABARD and also a lot of other peripheral institutions are there, whereas you are the core institution doing research. The other peripheral institutions are there to support you. If you see, if you break down the inflation figures, almost 45% of the inflation is due to agriculture produce. Have you realized that? The agriculture produce contribute to almost 45%, the weightage of agriculture produce. In that also, if you say that Indian inflation is around 6%, but then the lion's share is contributed by the fluctuation in the agriculture produce. Rather, the price level can remain at a level, but if it fluctuates, if it increases faster, then the contribution to the inflation will be higher. And that way, if you see, almost 80% of the inflation in India right now is because of the fluctuation in agriculture produce. That is where this value chain approach of agriculture is very important. That is a neglected thing. Once you produce a produce and then without sufficient technology to transfer that produce in a cost-effective and value-preserving manner to the consumer, unless you do that, whatever you produce will go waste. And that exactly is what the bane of Indian agriculture, which you need to concentrate on. And there are market players which are concerned about this. These are the three important culprits for our inflation problem. So if you can structure your thing, you will come with a new beginning. What I told is that of a creative destruction phenomenon which you want to do here, you should do it in these three commodities. And production-wise, India is not a problem, but productivity-wise, there is a problem. Less of area, more of production. That is what we should do. So earlier we started with begging balls to the developed West. Now the developed West is looking to us for feeding their people. There, what I said about the value chain approach will help. That is one aspect which you need to worry about. If you can tackle that crop-wise or variety-wise, because within every crop there is a lot of varieties with different specialities, and they need to be tackled separately. So there is enough scope for you. If you tackle that, then you will be doing a good service to the Indian economy or in the Indian growth as such. Another area which innovation is to be there, new approaches for research need to be there, and NABARD-like organizations are supporting such outcomes. So if you are coming out with this innovative ideas, the ICAR-NAARM is here, which incubates a lot of startups. So you should also be looking at those aspects as well. See, right now how you can also transform into an entrepreneur, because at least 3 or 4 of our startups which are incubated by NABARD are developed by scientists. 2 or 3 professors of Indian Institute of Science has developed certain ideas, and they incubated it as a commercial entity, and they are now looking for much better turnover. And this is a spin-off benefit, so you can become an entrepreneur as well. So you should look at that. So your scientific spirit should lead to value addition in terms of the knowledge output, and then in terms of in terms of employment generation also we can look at those aspects. There are opportunities for you. NABARD-like organizations will be there to support you if you are coming out with some innovative. The previous day only we got information from Government of India that we are permitted now to set up another fund, that is 750 crore fund for supporting such innovations in rural areas. Frugal innovations, small innovations, which you may do it in your Kisan Vikas Kendras, that is Vishwikan Kendras, or in research stations. And if you feel that these need some scaling up and all, we can provide you with initial seed capital or even grant assistance from that. And then we can help you to set up a business model using those funds. So opportunities are there. Government of India is also sensitive to those opportunities. That 750 crore fund, which was announced in the last budget, is now coming to fruition now. and which will be good for people like you or even established scientists. Already ICAR-NAARM is taking lead in that. If they are one of the incubators sponsored by us is stationed here, you can have a look of that activity also, so that now you will be enthused to do more. Now, as I said, the base is agriculture for Indian economy, and then right now if you see the classification of agriculture for bank credit, have you come across that private sector classification for banks? Are you knowing about the private sector norm? Private sector is one norm where forcing banks to lend to preferred sectors, and agriculture is the most preferred sector, and as per the RBI norms, 18% of the loans given should be to agriculture. And within agriculture now RBI has expanded the scope of agriculture to direct, that is crop cultivation, that is one aspect, and then there is agro processing, and then there are packaging, transportation, and then innovations, startups. These are all activities now clubbed together as agriculture. So the scope of agriculture in the policymakers' minds have widened, and you should now make use of that widened things. You should not restrict yourselves to the areas in which you are now specialized in. As we go forward, many of the successful enterprises have been set up by those people not trained in that enterprise or that activity as such. Because as they go ahead, they will go into the frontiers of such things, maybe overlapping what we call as multidisciplinary approach, which Professor Rao also talked about. You should not confine yourselves to an area where, say, for example, the agronomy or a soil scientist or a plant pathologist, but then you can work in the frontiers, and you can also look at the advanced technologies or research methods developed by certain areas which are outside the realm of agriculture also, and then adapt that to agriculture. That will be a quicker way to accelerate your research. So you should look at that, you should work in frontiers, you should go for multidisciplinary approaches, and you should look at sustainability. These are the messages I have to give here. Sustainability is one thing which is the bottom line for everything. Whatever you do, it should be in a sustainable manner. Otherwise, quick solutions like, see, at that point of time when green revolution was introduced, agrochemical was needed. But right now, we are looking at agrochemicals as a strict no-no. Or rather, in a measured fashion, it need to be there. What we call as a safe to eat type of thing, not as pure organic. Pure organic may not be sustainable in a long run, but then we have to reach that stage where everything should be replaceable type of thing. Otherwise, if you introduce a new element, it will affect the equilibrium and the cyclicality, which is not desirable. So you should work with the system in a sustainable manner, look at the problems, and work in the frontiers, and have a multidisciplinary approach. If you do that, I think you should be successful. And as you initiate yourselves into almost 30 or 40 years of, maybe for researchers there is no retirement age. Even after 60 years of age also, you can continue to make yourself indispensable. If you make yourself indispensable, then there are a lot of scope. Professor Emeritus or a lot of consulting agreements, everything is there. So you should make use of the opportunity, and wish you all the best. And I congratulate you, which I also returned ARS examination. But before that, I joined the band. So so I don't know whether I would like to have a scientist. But then looking back at the work-life balances of a scientist, I think scientists are providing, and successful scientists, not every scientist. I'm not telling that. There are people who just confine themselves to the desk and do whatever minimum which is required. But whatever you do, you should excel, you should go to the frontiers and work beyond the expectations. That's what the message I will give. Wish you all the best for you and your family. Thank you.
Degrees from Sardar Patel University, Gujarat. He has over 33 years of teaching and research experience. Professor Kodle is an elected fellow of all major science academies of India, including Indian National Science Academy, National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, Association of Microbiologists of India, and founding fellow of Telangana Academy of Sciences, Hyderabad. He is a recipient of prestigious JC Fellowship, Tata Innovation Fellowship, and K.C. Mehta Memorial Award, and the Outstanding Young Scientist Award from the Indian Society of Mycology and Plant Pathology, and many more. He was awarded the Millennium Place of Honor for his achievements in life sciences by the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, in 2017. With this brief introduction, I would now request Professor Appara to share his pearls of wisdom with us.
The chief guest of the function and the chairman award, Shri Shaji, Director NAARM, Dr. Srinivaswara, and the joint director, Dr. Venkateswara, and the course coordinator, Dr. Avinash, faculty from NAARM, and all the participants who are coming from different institutions of ICR. Already you have been posted at different places after clearing your ARS, and I would like to congratulate all of you for, first of all, at the outset, for clearing the ARS and then taking up a career at ICR, and for the next 3 to 4 decades, as Dr. Venkateswara mentioned. You have, when I see, with no surprise, that a large number of the participants have graduated from IRI, the premier institution, and probably the second best was from Mumbai and third was from NDRI. They're all expected. They're all on expected lines. But as you are all coming from different states, unity and diversity is the strength of the country, right? When we know that we have 29 states and we come from different parts, but we are posted at any place in the country, and we start working for the mandate of that particular institution once we are posted there. I am happy to see that the new batch of people are also coming in with bioinformatics background. 3-4 of you have indicated that you are already in bioinformatics. That's a wonderful sign. In continuation of that, I just wanted to say just a few things, couple of things, and because the time is short, and I know our chief guest has an important assignment to do after this meeting. Wherever you are posted, whatever be the kind of agriculture, agriculture includes animal husbandry, as some of you are also in veterinary science and other branches of animal biology. Biodiversity is something which you have to keep in back of your mind, any area of work that you are choosing. In any area that you are going to work in agriculture, if you have sensitivity to biodiversity and importance to the germplasm, and the germplasm, particularly the wild relatives of the germplasm, we must have an eye on that germplasm and that diversity, biodiversity, if we want to be successful and we want to have our agriculture a sustainable one. That is something all of us have to keep in mind. And the second important thing that I would like to mention to you is in the need for the production of grains, when there was an absolute need to produce grains for us to feed the growing population, there was Green Revolution. But Green Revolution also forced us to use several different things, intensive agriculture, where we went on using agrochemicals extensively, and now we face some of the issues related to that. Not to blame Green Revolution, that was essential on that day, and we wanted to have the produce. But then we also have to now see the sustainability of our soils and ensure that this Green Revolution shall remain a green revolution forever. That is something we have to maintain, and for which we have to go back to the roots of our agriculture, and some of the things like the holistic approach in agriculture is something we must keep in mind again. This is coming back to us, and we have to think about how our forefathers have practiced agriculture in a holistic way, and that is something which becomes essential today, because today we are now not focusing on more on production. We are now talking about nutritional value. We are now talking about other important aspects of quality of produce, rather than the production per se has not become a priority. It is decreasingly becoming our priority these days. Therefore, we have to really think about a holistic approach. And this holistic approach, when we talk about the crop itself, what has been neglected has been because as I'm introduced to you as a person working in plant microbe interactions, what we have neglected is during the process of breeding for the high-yielding varieties, we have neglected the below ground part and the microorganisms associated with them. And today we know at least 30 to 40% of the plant biology or the crop biology is influenced by these microorganisms. So we have to keep in mind when we talk about the crop, that is the holistic approach is first part of the holistic approach I would like to mention to you is the keep an eye on the microorganisms associated with that and don't neglect that part when whatever the area that we are working. The second important thing is to have animals associated with us, animal husbandry and other those things associated with agriculture. These are also important components of agriculture. And today we are now talking about if we have to be healthy, if we want to be healthy, that's what everybody would like to be. There is a concept called One Health. Unless we keep the soils healthy, unless we keep the animals healthy, unless we keep the plants healthy, we cannot be healthy. So for us to be healthy, One Health concept talks about keeping every system, every living component around us to be healthy, and that is something we must keep in mind. And in the present day generation, when I say that, when I am talking about biodiversity and I am referring to you back to the holistic approach of agriculture that our forefathers have practiced, I am not trying to tell you that don't look at the new technologies that are becoming available, like particularly, for example, the genome editing. Everybody is now looking at genome editing as one of the most useful options that we have in front of us for crop improvement. I'm not talking about not to use such of those technologies. We must adopt those technologies, we must learn, and we must excel in using those technologies and increasing the crop productivity, keeping in mind some of those aspects which I have mentioned. So, and lastly, I would like to mention one thing. Funds are important, no doubt. Dr. Venkatesh made a just reference to that because NABARD chairman is with us as the chief guest, and he was referring to the funds that we have received from the Ministry of Education and the Institution of Eminence also he was referring. Funds are important, no doubt. But at the same time, what is important is ideas. Important is idea and interest to execute that idea and the commitment that we have to execute that idea. These are more important than the funds. If 1, 2, 3, whatever I mentioned are there in us, there will be somebody to fund us. Let's not worry about funds at the beginning. Do I have a good idea? Do I have a commitment to do this? Do I have a commitment to execute it to the logical end? These are the three things if we have in our mind. I'm sure funds will come from one source or other, and never ever the funds will be a problem. That's what is my belief. By saying so, what I'm trying to indicate to you is don't bother too much about external factors that can influence. First, be clear from your side what you want to do and how you want to do and where you want to contribute. These are the things that you should be. In the next 90 days that you are here, I am sure you are going to learn many more things as to how you have to contribute in your career. In addition, when you go back to your institutions, these are the things that I would like you to remember. And with this, I would like to thank the ICAR-NAARM, particularly Director Srinivasrao Garu and the Joint Director Rangeswaru Garu for inviting me here to join on this very, very pleasant occasion where the 71 ARS trainees are here for the next 90 days to learn something about the system and how to plan your things and all that. And it is a wonderful day for me, and I am so happy to be with all of you. And thank you once again, Srinivasa Garu and Venkateswara Garu. And good luck to all the participants for your future. Thank you so much.
And particularly 113 FOCARians. Very glad to have you, very happy. And also some of their parents also came. And good morning everyone. Let me complete under 7 minutes as the chief guest has to leave the airport. And the basic philosophy of this foundation course, Chairman Ji, how to, till yesterday they were the students, maybe masters and PhD students. So these 3 months will be a transformation platform to contribute to the country, to serve the farmers, to uplift their farmers' livelihoods, and they will be taking important research projects to solve the major challenges, as one of you said, climate change. And in the process, they will be not only taking great research, best research, innovative research, and also developing the technology and transforming the technology to ground level implementation, and how to communicate science, and how to work with the farmers in the fields. So as I was telling to you that there are 3 phases of training. First one is a basic foundation, what kind of project preparation, etc. Second phase is field experience. Third phase is that again multidisciplinary, which you were indicating. Certainly, and we will be a series of experts are exposed and interacted, maybe women directors, maybe directors of ICAR Institute, then award-winning young scientists, farmers, agri startups, industries, and many more in this process. And the foundation course is a very, very unique, and nowhere in the world for the entire ICAR system, it is a very proud moment for taking FOCARians at the NAARM. And by seeing the NAARM foundation course, that many other science organizations like ISRO, CSIR, they wanted to replicate this, how to mold these young people into a full-fledged scientists to contribute to the country. So they will be in second phase, particularly they will be working with villages, Krishi Vijnana Kendras, and they will be understanding ground level challenges and formulate the projects so that their research projects to the FOCARians and also coordinators. We have 3
under its fold, and as part of that initiative, we are very happy to request our chairman sir to kindly present the sanction order relating to the NABARD's support to AIDEA for conducting a long-term training program for the prospective CEOs of farmer producer organizations. A long-term kind of training program which will make CEOs desk ready to handle this important function so that the FPO movement will be a successful one in the country. So may I request
The FPOs is an important thing. We have to have accelerated programs. Yeah. Good.
from the guest of honor as a science, how to do in the research terms, project side, he has conveyed and say, thank you very much.
We joined scientist probationers. Sir, we know the efforts you have put in to join the 113th FOCARS in spite of your busy schedule. It's really boosts the energy for the newly recruited agriculture scientist personnel. We sincerely thank you from the bottom of the heart, and your presence will always inspire us. My special and heartfelt thanks are due to Professor Apparao Pudil, former Vice Chancellor of University of Hyderabad, guest of honor, for accepting the invitation, sir, and gracing the occasion and wishing the probationers. He not only spent your time with us today, but always encouraged to take many endeavors with the scientific community of the scientists in general and the ARS scientists in particular. And heartiest thanks to our director, respected Dr. C.H. Srinivas Rao sir, ICAR-NAARM, who has been the center force and always takes keen interest in all the activities of 113 FOCARS of the Academy. He is always instrumental in right from the planning and soliciting new ideas and try to implement for the welfare of the FOCARS probationers. Thank you very much, sir. Your presence itself is an inspiration not only for the probationers but for the entire scientific community. Thanks are also due to our affable Joint Director, Dr. G. Venkateshwarlu, sir, who never let us down on any occasion and always extremely helpful and providing valuable suggestions on day-to-day basis for strengthening the FOCAS program. I take this opportunity to thank all the NABARD officials, CGM Telangana, CGM Andhra Pradesh, representative of sister ICR institutes, faculty colleagues, heads, CAO, CFAO, SAO, and my course director, Dr. Ashwin, administration and finance personnel, medical consultants, training unit, photography, IT staff, civil and maintenance, technical officers, press and media, for all the staff their continued support to organizing this FOCARS. Today's inaugural program is about the journey started by the scientist probationers of 113 FOCARS. You are the real stars of the program. I congratulate you as well as thank you for choosing the best service, that is agriculture service. And I thank Almighty for blessing us to overcome any difficulties to organize the inaugural program in a successful way. I request all of you to stand for the national anthem. I should thank our respected chief guest of today's function, Honorable Sri Shaji KV, Chairman NABARD, for gracing this function and inaugurating the 130th FOCARS and giving value.
जनगणमंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे